What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Run Your Mouth Podcast. How's that for an abrupt introduction? We're getting right into it. I got a really long episode. I don't even have that much time. I got to get into the city. I got spots tonight at Brooklyn Comedy Club. If you're in New York City watching this live, come hang out. Trying to work on my materials. Trying to come up with a single joke that's not about penises for the show form. Sometimes you agree to a gig, and then you're like, why am I going to be at it before an academic debate telling dick jokes? And then you're like, well, I have things that aren't dick jokes. And then you look at all the material you're working on, and you're like, nope, that's a dick joke. That's a dick joke. That's another dick joke. So, anyways, I haven't gone live the last couple days, and now my apartment's just stacked with fucking newspapers and clippings, and I got lines going to this thing and that thing, and saying how this one's important. And now I'm crushed for time. I wanted to go earlier in the day, but then someone sent me the video of what was going on in Shanghai, and I don't know the accuracy of that stuff. Of everyone screaming in their apartments. Maybe it's more similar to what was going on here when people were ringing the bells, people are doing in protest. It's the fucking creepiest thing I've ever seen in my life. That shit fucked me up. I was like, I gotta decompress from that one. And then it was just making me thinking about, repenting to the Lord because there's so much evil in the universe who wants that shit coming for you. And then I started thinking about how, man, I got to get away from people because who wants to? I don't even want to be near buildings anymore. I don't want to be near buildings. I don't want to be near governments. I don't want to be near anything because if things go wrong, it's not cool. And then, so I go to the gym and first room I go into, there's some older guy standing there. I walk up, hey, what's up? And then I that must have been the first thing that anyone said into him in the last 45 years that he just took that as an invitation to just make the most conversation with me. Either that or I look like some loved one from his past where he was like, I have to have sex with this. I want to be on, like, dude, I'm all for doing you, putting your wiener where you want to put it. Gay people should have the freedom to be gay. But there are some unintended consequences, which is that I can't be friendly to random individuals. I mean, random men. Random men, if they're too nice, I have to assume that they're looking to fuck me because I'm never that nice to other men. I'm that nice to women because I'm trying to have sex with them. It's a red flag when a dude at the gym is starting to just being all friendly with you. So first room I'm in, I'm like, all right, well, this room's been ruined by this guy. And so then I get into the sauna because I figured, I don't know. I don't have to explain all my gym habits. That's what you do when you really don't want to work out. You're just like, I'll just sit in the sauna, I'll sweat, I'll pretend like I did something. And there's a dude sitting in the sauna and he's rubbing his wet feet. He's just rubbing his wet feet. It sounds like he's almost jerking off his foot. It's just slimy, wet noise. And it's like that. It's like that. And then at the same time, he's like chanting. And I don't know how long that guy's been in the sauna for. He was naked too. It looked like he was either coming down from heroin or that he was looking to kill himself. And then I'm looking at the other dudes in the sauna like, is someone going to check in on this guy? You know what? It's annoying when you're like, is this guy trying to kill himself in front of me? Am I supposed to say something? Should I be like, bro, are you all right? Or do I not need to point out the fact? Like, he probably already knows he's being pretty weird. I don't think he needs other people pointing out that he's being super fucking weird. So you don't want to make the guy feel worse about being weird. Free country. You want to be weird in a sauna? You can be as weird as you want in a sauna. Just don't make other people think that maybe you're like killing yourself. Hey, it got so weird. I was like, I got to get out of here. I was like, I got to get out of the sauna. I really don't want to be here watching some guy kill himself in a sauna. So then I get in the pool and I'm trying to swim some laps. And then there's these fat kids. And they're playing this game where they're standing on each other's backs with the thin kid on the bottom of the pool and then the two fat kids standing. And I'm like, I'm about to watch some kid die in the pool. And then I'm like, where the fuck's his parents? And I'm like, I'm not going to be the one yelling at kids in a pool. I'm not going to be the adult yelling at kids that aren't my kids. That's when I need money because I need to get away from people. So I don't know. Maybe this show is going behind a paywall because that's it. I want away from civilization. I want to be out in the middle of fucking nowhere with a little river that I can just look at that river and go, look at how much water will be here if the world ends, until the world ends. And then either someone shuts off your river access and you didn't even realize that they could do that. You're like, wait a second, you had a dam up the road? I thought I had a perfectly good river here. Or then it turns out you did have a perfectly good river, but then other people were looking for water and then you just end up dead anyways. But I got thoughts flowing through my head today. I was like, you know what? I don't have enough time to podcast. Maybe I'll just go to the city. And then I was like, nope. I'm putting it out there. You got river access? If you're out there, if you're a fan of the show with river access, robsnewsroom@gmail.com. I will buy a share in your river accessed area that's out in the middle of nowhere. As long as it's just you. You and me can be friends, and then no one else. I'll just broadcast. I'll be done with we'll visit cities occasionally to do stand-up. And other than that, I don't want to be near any buildings. I don't want to be near any communist Chinese parties or Chinese parties influence or communists. And I just want to be away from people altogether. And that's our show. No, I got more show. Not only do I have more show, oh, firstly, I'd like to congratulate the Robbie the Fire YouTube channel for getting its first YouTube strike. That's a mark in a channel's life. When you finally grow a channel from fresh, you got 300 whole people who are there watching you live, and then you get your first strike, and that's how you know that you're doing authentic things on your YouTube channel. With that being said, for everyone listening, please go subscribe to the podcast, Run Your Mouth podcast. Go get the podcast version. I put up the full videos on Spotify most of the time, so you can get them there. Or you can go to Odyssey. You can go to Rumble. I'm going to have to find more places for this, particularly on this episode. This would be a good episode to go to the podcast version because there's going to be a whole second half that will not be available on YouTube. Why won't it be available on YouTube? Because I usually don't film things in advance. I usually just go live, so I don't have to do post-production because I don't have the time or resources to be doing post-production. But I did an entire interview with a fascinating individual, a man who was abandoned by the CIA, ended up in prisons in both Libya and Thailand, doesn't claim to have any affiliation with the CIA, has an incredible mustache, an incredible life story, a YouTube channel where he really does have a pretty good knowledge of the history of invasions, countries, all the stuff that I know nothing about because when I was in school, I just stared out the windows. So make sure to download the podcast, rate, review, subscribe, do all those things. Don't even listen. I don't care if you like the YouTube version and you don't want to ever listen to the podcast version. I respect that. But rate, review, and subscribe, and then I'll think more people are listening to this. I'll think I'm more important than I am. And then you can have a laugh out of the fact when I start renting like theaters that I can't possibly fill because I think there's all sorts of people listening to podcasts, but really people are just subscribing in both locations. Just go rate, subscribe, do that. And then you can listen to this exclusive interview with the guy with an incredible mustache who was not actually in the CIA, but ended up abandoned in a Libyan jail. All right, so here, I got a bunch of topics for today. We've already rambled quite a bit. I'm against the clock on time. So cue the news drop, producer. We're going to intro all the topics that we're doing. So, cue that fancy news drop that makes this bit funny. So the first is bird people have been released back into the wild in Michigan. The governor has removed all bird feeders from her house to try and restore safety to her property. We're going to be talking about the bird people. Then you got the handsome man who escaped to Switzerland, claims to have gigabytes of pictures of Hunter Biden. I'd like to know, do any ugly people have information on the case? And why is he holding back this information? Why is there always like, hey, I've got this information, but I can't give you this information yet? Next is Jill Biden's being protected by fake agents. What happens to the real ones? And why would someone pay fake agents to do the work of the real ones? That was a weird news story. That was a real one. That's a real news topic. And then more topics for today. Why lawyers are suggesting that rioters dress like bellhops. That's a good one. Then we also have a recent White House whistleblower describes what it's like living inside of La La Land. Our experts debate who is more delusional, Trump or Biden. Man, we've got a lot on the docket today. Two more. Why government officials want to seize your kids and swap their genders. Oh, that's a juicy one. That one, there's a lot of meat on that bone, and I wish it wasn't true. You're going to find out. I mean, usually I say all sorts of things that aren't factual. You're going to find out that one's pretty factual. And then lastly, if Florida goes to war with Georgia, will Disney stay neutral, and will Ron DeSantis feed bath salts to spring breakers and invade Georgia with an army of topless spring breakers and alligators? Why PETA thinks alligators should be left out of the conflict. So if you don't think that this isn't the most exciting Sunday broadcast, the Run Your Mouth podcast, you're crazy. We're going to be talking about kids swapping genders, alligators on bath salts. I got a dude who never worked for the U.S. government but ended up in jails and has a perfect idea of everything that's going on in the world coming up in the second half. And it's all brought to you by sheathunderwear.com because if you use promo code RYM, you get 20% off. And then you can pace around in tight quarters without your wiener flapping all over the place because it's got its own slot. So use promo code RYM and get 20% off. All right, let's get into some of these actual news topics here. First one being, this is from Daily Mail, exclusive. Whistleblower who handled Hunter's abandoned laptop to congressman in dailymail.com reveals he has 450 gigabytes of deleted material, including 80,000 images and videos. He's fled to Switzerland feeling retaliation from the White House. I'm kind of calling bullshit on this one. The fact that this is such bullshit makes me think the whole Hunter thing, like, where's all you guys have been telling us forever that there's like, just fucking release the shit already. What are you guys waiting for? What is this grand moment? And you really took 80,000 pictures of himself 80. I've been like recording my comedy sets for years. I don't have 450 gigabytes of footage, and that's hour-long sets that I record. Like, that doesn't, how do you have 450 gigabytes of other material? It just sounds like a little bit too fantastic of a number that I'm like, and then just put it out. If you got it, just put it out. Now, this one's actually a good news story. Questionably. It might be a good news story. So you got one guy, one of the first trials, due to pled not guilty in the January 6th incident. He got left off the hook. Why? I mean, he got let off. He's not going to jail. The reason being, there was footage of a police officer opening up the door for this guy. And based off of that, the lawyer basically said, hey, it's reasonable to assume this guy didn't know it was illegal because this cop just, now, why did the cop, because so many people had stormed the building at that point, they realized that they couldn't control the thing. And this is all going off of what I read in the headline. So I'm pretty sure I have this accurate. I mean, it literally says in the charges, after arguing that officer opened door to rotunda and let them in. So the good news is there are a lot of people on January 6th, the ones that were in the front lines that were violent, most likely working in the FBI. Those people should be going to jail. Those people, I don't know how long they should be going to jail for. I don't know that Donald Trump should be off the hook for working them all up into a frenzy. But at the end of the day, you had a lot of people that were like, oh, look, everyone's walking into the building. This is my opportunity to look at some of the fancy paintings. I once got the hookup. I once got to get a tour of that building. There's some fancy ass paintings in there the taxpayers paid for. Usually got to wait on a line. Sometimes you got to get just scooped up by the angel himself, Thomas Massey, going, oh, this is bullshit that you couldn't get in there. I'll give you a nice little tour. So anyways, first guy gets off. That's probably pretty promising to other people who are going to be facing court cases. Now, obviously, the fact that you have to go through the entire thing of having the trial, being fired from your job, trying to get your job back, everyone going, oh my God, these people are domestic terrorists. They were walking around outside a building on January 6th. Oh my God, the worst day since 9/11. Oh my Lord. So, I mean, you don't get your time back and the FBI doesn't get in trouble for, using taxpayer resources to spend hours going through Facebook to get people who apparently did nothing illegal. Why didn't you just go to a judge first? You could have gone to the judge first and gone, hey, all these people that just walked in, not forcibly, should we be rounding them up? And of course, Merrick Garland's going, we're going to get everyone, even if they didn't walk into the building, anyone involved in the day. Wouldn't you make a determination first by the judge? Was there any illegal activity, or are we just going to be wasting our time? And it's like, let's just make them miserable. Let's make them miserable. Let's get on the news. Let's say that what they did was the worst thing ever. And they did the exact same thing with the bird people out in Michigan that I was telling you guys about. So we go back down the Run Your Mouth archive. I believe there's a clip about it. And I basically said, you get down to it, you get these FBI agents, and they're all cool, good-looking alpha dudes. And then they find these fucking losers out in the middle of nowhere. And then they go, hey, listen, my life's great because I'm so handsome and things are going well in my life. So let's go do this thing. And then the fucking losers go, all right, we'll follow you. Let's go do that thing. And then they turn around and the guy who had the idea was, I'm just kidding. It's like bullying in school. It's, I got you. That was never really a good idea. Now you're going to have to go to jail because I actually work for the FBI, you fucking losers. So in this case, I'm going to read the quote. I don't know which article this is from. You guys can go find it on your own time. The government's case was built largely on secret recording of the men's conversation. In closing arguments, prosecutors said the defendant's own words show they were rage-filled extremists who hoped to spark a kind of civil war that could keep Biden from becoming president. So that was from I spaced out while I was reading that. I got to be honest. I read it. I had something to say about it, but then while I was reading about it, I was thinking about the fact that I'm out of breath. And I'm like, why am I out of breath? Just calm down. It's your podcast. You don't have to yell all the time. You don't have to pace all the time. All right, let's reread this. Calm down and apply a little bit more focus to what we're doing. Actually, before it, I see there's some comments coming through. It's telling me that they're having problems streaming. That's not good. Gonna have to remove Odyssey from the stream. That sucks. All right, we're gonna have to figure that out another time. All right, Heather Rivera is a dick joke enthusiast. I appreciate your dedication to hard work. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate your support for the jokes I will be telling. Saint Michael. Whoa, evening RYM. That's right. We're running our mouths right now, and then he got Stinky coming through a travesty. I don't know what that was in regards to. All right, let's reset here, everybody. I took acting classes before. Take a moment. The government's case was built largely on secret recordings of the men's conversation. In closing arguments, prosecutors said the defendant's own words show they were rage-filled extremists who hoped to spark a kind of civil war that would keep Biden from becoming... Man, you really got good fiction writers working these cases. the rage-filled agreement they were going to keep Biden from being president. This is what it was. This is a groundbreaking story. We have recordings where men said dumb shit in a clubhouse. Your Honor, these drunk men who aren't having sex and like to get together and trade speeches of, it's just speeches like in those old cartoons. Oh, I oughta, what I oughta do, what I oughta. That's it. It's a bunch of people. They're getting around and they go over. They took us from our jobs. What I oughta, I would shoot the lady. And then someone go, oh, well, I would capture her and then hold a court. Well, what I oughta, that's it. That's it. You got footage, or actually recordings, of dumbasses getting together and having a little IOTA club, and then you play the recordings. It's like if you were listening to the idiots I've described on the show before that like to play Magic Gathering and then send me emails and go, no, Magic's really great. Why are you hating on Magic? And you're like, hey, this guy's looking to release wizard people onto the, and then prevent Biden from becoming president. What kind of fantasy writers are working over at the FBI here? This was a good line from the article. This case is steeped in marijuana smoke, said Fox's lawyer, Christopher Gibbons, noting that testimony showed his client repeatedly smoked pot before discussions about the alleged plot. These agents took advantage of Adams' substance abuse issues. Accused later of Whitmer plot was struggling financially, living in storage space. I mean, who is the FBI going after? Do you really have to ruin these people's lives? It's unbelievable. All right, Gibbons said Fox was engaged in live action role playing or LARPing, not any real world conspiracy. The plan was utter nonsense. It was real to Adam. It wasn't real to Adam. Fox, said Gibbons. His client, he added, was usually impaired. He's just playing a game. There you go. The FBI comes by. He's got this cool car that this guy can never afford. He picks him up from the box he's living in. He goes, yeah, we're going to smoke this weed, and then we're going to go to the clubhouse. And then, you get to hang out with us. And then he shows up and he goes, hey, so, you just smoked the weed. You're the most creative one here. If we got a hold of the governor, what would you do? And then he goes, well, I oughta. And then at the same time, the FBI then reports, oh, look, we've managed to discover these domestic terrorism, people that are living in boxes, that if we just left them alone living their lives, they would be out there trying to unseat our governors, trying to go after our president. This is the dangerous rhetoric that Trump has brought upon us. Who's going to investigate the FBI? Who's going to look into the FBI, and who's writing these fiction stories and then selling them to the American public to try and create domestic terrorism titles so that people like me, with just a couple of measly strikes on their YouTube channels, and then creating new YouTube channels to get, I wouldn't get around strikes because, or at least not without knowing. I don't know. You almost need a lawyer just to broadcast for no money out of your apartment. I mean, there's some money because you'll kratom home with $60 kilos. Dude, I took a kratom pill the other night. I was hanging out with my pal. I mean, if you're over the age of 21, and I don't recommend daily, but a single train wreck pill, that will give you a nice even buzz for about 4 hours. The weight comes off the shoulders, and you're like, you know what? I can exist around people. All right, let's move on. The week, jury acquits 2 men in plot to kidnap Michigan governor. The normalization of political violence. There you go. That's the spin that the liberal media is putting on this, that this is now the normalization of political violence. And I will say, in my opinion, I think we need cameras in federal court. I mean, these are the most interesting court cases. How come we don't get to see them? This one, Ghislaine Maxwell trial, we didn't get to see it. Like the Kyle Rittenhouse. I want the Kyle Rittenhouse treatment on court cases like this. Let's see how dirty this game is. When you see those prosecutors getting up there, let's actually hear what these recordings sound like. Let's hear the evidence that they were trying to bring. Let's see what these agents look like. Let's see firsthand what this trial actually looks like so everyone can realize how much of a sham this thing is and what the fuck is the FBI up to that they're trying to pretend that there's some massive... It's exactly what they did with terrorism, man. When they, now I'm throwing man in here for no reason, with those kids in the Bronx. And then it turned out that it was also entrapment from the FBI, because then you can continue to get your funding and you create your own news about the threats that you would like to be able to go police, that you can get funding and then, continue to police these things that weren't really an issue. All right. I think there was one more. Here we go. This is the last quote that I will read on this one. But the prosecutor's case was hampered by a lack of clarity on what exactly the men were accused of plotting. No attack ever took place, and no final date for an abduction was set. Testimony showed the details of the alleged plan sometimes differed drastically from prosecution witness to prosecution witness, because they were just sitting there playing a fucking game of what I ought to do. All right, that's enough on that one. Oh, And now, in classic run your mouth ADD faction, going back to the January 6th defendant. So while it would seem, hey, this is great, this guy got let off the hook. Look at this. You know, the people that were just walking into the building are getting off, but except this particular individual was a defense contractor. So was he just one of these FBI dorks who was on the scene? So he's getting let off, but everyone else that was there is going to continue to get in trouble. I don't know. I can't answer that. I'm just, let's hope that the individuals who were peaceful on that day took a free mall tour, went for a nice walk. Oh man, that's some trippy shit. If you're watching the stream right now, look at that. I'm following myself in line. Boo, hey, what's up? Yo, where's the Shedcast game? Give me a beat. Look at me. It sounds like I'm DJing. Anyone who's listening to this podcast tomorrow is going to go, what was Rob doing in the middle of the show there? But if you're listening right now, that makes perfect sense. Look at the way I just froze. Someone go meme that shit. Looks like I'm jerking off. Hey, wait, let me reach over to this. No, that's the wrong side. Can I get to this side? All right, let's take some comments and everyone can just enjoy. I'm gonna stand behind myself. How trippy is this, everybody? All right, let's go. Robbie, I want a shirt like the plaid one you're wearing. Well, go to your local Marshalls or Walmart or wherever I bought this one from. I don't even know. Honestly, just some good old boys. There you go. St. Michael flannels all the way up here in Maine. LOL. I got some flannel. I just don't know where to find the good ones. I'll go shopping with you. Tell me what state you're in. Let's go shopping together. LL Bean, if you don't mind spending a bit extra. Fuck LL Bean. What am I gonna do the things? St. Michael, nothing shaking on Shakedown Street. Used to be the heart of town. Forest Mommy, what a glitch. I know it's a weird one, but we're not resetting. DJ the Fire. All right, there you go. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm gonna stand behind the me glitching out the whole time. This is because I'm actually like Biden, and I don't exist. I'm just a 3D representation of your own imagination. You know all the crazy thoughts that you have in your head, but you don't actually know how to verbalize? Well, Run Your Mouth doesn't exist. This show doesn't exist. And this glitch right now is proof of all that. All right, let's watch this video. And then I think I'm going to save the rest of everything for tomorrow. And, oh, look, I'm back. Dude, the people listening tomorrow are going to have no idea why I was doing this bit, but that's on them. People listening to the show should go check. I mean, people watching the YouTube live stream should go check out the podcast version because there's going to be a full interview that you're not going to get on this channel because we already got strikes on it. And I want to do the post-production to put up the video. Maybe I will at a later point in time. And then people who are listening to the podcast who are all like, why is he talking about some glitch? I don't understand what's going on here. You guys can go check out the video version. All right, let's see if I can change the setup here and if that will help. That didn't help at all, but let's give this a listen. I want to break down this video. Here we go.
Office of Population Affairs. It says in here, and I quote, gender affirming care encompasses many facets of healthcare needs and support. It has been shown to increase positive outcomes for transgender and non-binary children. Mr. Secretary,
looks like I'm fucking myself. Now I'm not listening again. Let's pull it back.
A child in America.
Include them in this. Mothers are mothers. Moving forward, Mr. Secretary, I want to read for you from a document from your office, the Office of Population Affairs. It says in here, and I quote, gender affirming care encompasses many facets of healthcare needs and support. It has been shown to increase positive outcomes for transgender and non-binary children. Mr. Secretary, what is a transgender child?
A child in America is a child in America, and I hope you and I can love that child. Just,
you know what? Fuck it. I'm calling it a stream because for everyone listening at home, you're going to get a long ass broadcast, and this is good. 20-minute introduction means that my guests can get a little bit more focus. And for everyone tomorrow, we'll come back without this glitch thing going on. I know, sweet petites, you're saying can't pay attention to the video. I agree. So we're gonna bring it back tomorrow, and I'll tease this topic because it's really quite insane. All right, transgender, do you? I don't. No one listening to this show cares. It's new technology, whatever. Boy, girl, I don't give a shit. I don't even think we need the male-female categories. At some point, people are going to be born out of labs and tubes. Who gives a shit? I don't care if you're a lady. I don't care if you're a dude. I don't care if you want to switch sides. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter whatsoever. When it comes to kids making that decision when they're 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I don't think you have the research yet to suggest that they can make those kinds of decisions about their identity to make life-altering changes. And I also don't think government should be stepping in and paying for people that want to go undergo gender reassignment surgery. Certainly not kids, and certainly not kids whose parents aren't into that. And so what this video would represent to us is that these people care about kids so much, and they have such outstanding research about the harms of not swapping genders when you first acknowledge at a young age that maybe you're in the wrong gender, that maybe government should even take kids away from their parents to and pay for those reassignments. And then I guess you return it like a neutered dog. You just return it to the parents and be like, hey, we changed your kid. I hope you still love it. All right, so that's it. I've teased tomorrow's topic. And for everyone listening, later tonight, I'll have the audio version out, which will have that whole interview. And now that's it for today. I don't know. I got real ramped up. I was real excited to go. The glitch is fucking weird. I'm weirded out looking at it. It's giving me ADD freak out or something. All right, a couple comments, and then we'll be back tomorrow with more broadcast for all you fine listeners. Can I get Glitchy Robbie as a desktop pal like old Clippy the paperclip? You know what? If someone wants to work on that, I would gladly license that. I think that would make for a great look on anyone's computer. Or I like the idea of women flicking their bean and just staring at that. Looks like I'm working you or something. You'd have to be like angled, like on a table with your legs up, kind of thing, and it would be a weird stroke. I'd give you that. Sweet petites. You're the man, Rob. Please. We love you, Rob. All right, guys. We'll be back tomorrow morning with a full episode of the Run Your Mouth podcast. And later tonight, look out for the audio version, which will include a long and fun interview. Have a great Sunday, everybody.